Okay, hey guys, welcome. So this was a very impromptu vision that I had to do a group healing and channeling and record it so that we could bring through the answers that the whole group are looking for. So I just want to start off with a connecting activity like a meditation. So we don't need to close our eyes or anything. We can keep them open, and we're just going to get our back up straight and put your hands in a position. So you're going to hold them like that, and then you're just going to open your fingers and just let them sit comfortably however you're sitting. Yeah, the mine's just resting on my lap, sitting with my legs crossed, and make sure that you're comfortable and relaxed. You can close your eyes if you want, but you don't have to. We're just going to give ourselves a moment just to settle. Allow your breathing to normalize. Just focus now on the points where your fingers are touching. Bring your attention to those points. And if there's any pressure or tension, just relax or change your hand position so that however you're sitting, it just feels completely comfortable having those fingers resting against each other. And we're going to do a few inhales and exhales, keeping the focus on those points between the fingers, exactly where they're making contact. Just keep breathing naturally. Okay, we're going to do a breathing just to bring our brainwave states into sync. So we're going to inhale. And you hold it until I say exhale. Exhale. Hold it till inhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, we're just going to allow our breathing just to continue naturally. And we're just going to acknowledge that because we have chosen to be present here, we have already connected with each other. And because we have intended to ask questions of the collective intelligence, we have already connected to the collective intelligence. So we are always connected. When we intend, we're just putting our focus on that as an information source. And sometimes we're focusing on our own internal world, and sometimes we're focusing on the 3D world. So we're now just intending to bring our focus to the collective intelligence. And each of us here are serving as a voice from one of the different perspectives of humanity. And you are welcome to bring forth questions. And if an answer comes through to you, you're welcome to share it. The channel will go through us as a group. I've just stepped forth to lead and be the voice if no other steps forward. Okay, taking a nice big breath, roll the shoulders back, and we're just going to release our neck. You guys know, obviously I teach yoga, so body release is important. We want to straighten up the back, just bring the shoulder blades together. So we want to get up straight, almost as if our body is metaphorically a channel for the information. So you're creating a smooth channel. Unfortunately, I've had to change my camera perspective here because of the sunlight. I prefer to be outside for channeling. I'm going to take a sip of water, and then so my mom is Vivian. She's one of the participants. I'm going to call her mom. It will be impossible to call her anything else. And then we have Amy, and Marco's there, and then we have Murray. So these are the voices that have come forth, and they've agreed to record this session and be part of this wonderful channeling and group healing. So naturally, when you're channeling, you are pulling life energy into yourself. You are allowing yourself to be a void for Reiki. And so every time you channel, you become more healthy, more vital, more clear in your thinking. And so it is really a good thing to just practice just for yourself, if you can. So I'm trying to move the camera again. Sorry, guys. So many technical issues on this video. Okay, so the first question, would you like to ask it again, Mama?
Right, sorry, I had it on mute.
It's okay.
My question was, when all of you spoke about wisdom, opening yourself to wisdom and speaking wisdom, I immediately thought, to me, truth is wisdom. And I believe in total honesty, and the truth will come out no matter what. So I don't know whether wisdom is truth or higher knowledge, or what. How would you define it?
Okay, so from my experience, wisdom holds certain values in place that are the filters through which truth comes. So one of the filters of wisdom would be context. Okay. For example, if a child is losing their temper, most adults can't control themselves when they're losing their temper. And that's why it's called losing your temper. You're not supposed to be in control. So when a child loses their temper and an adult wants to come in there with a piece of truth, right? So for example, a child breaks something and then the adult says, oh, it's fine, don't worry, you'll get over it. I mean, that is a piece of truth. But the child's just broken something, their heart's sore. So truth would just say the thing without filtering the context and perhaps the subject or the person who's going through that context. So wisdom, I think, would apply, what we would call an emotional intelligence to the truth, so as to use the truth in a way that encourages growth and supports the person that the truth's being given to. Yeah, that's what would be wisdom for me.
Thank you.
Any comments?
Something from my
thanks.
Something from my alchemy teacher, like he said that wisdom is embodied truth, understanding is experiential knowledge, and knowledge cannot breed wisdom. Only understanding can lead to wisdom. So it's like experiencing reality, and the experience of everything brings understanding, which leads to wisdom, and wisdom is embodied truth. So in its foundation, it is a truth that you come to with experience and understanding.
Wow, yes, because that's what embodiment would be, right? Embodiment would be when you actually experience the value or the concept. And that would give you then compassion for anyone else who is experiencing it or experiences something similar, because now you've experienced it yourself. And so you have that embodied, visceral experience. I mean, I know we're using the word, but now it's entrenched in your body. And so you can then give compassion, which would then be the filter, essentially, that was, that truth is coming through. You would put it through a filter of compassion. So compassion is an interesting one. I don't know if any of you are familiar with violet flame.
Yes.
So Saint Germain was the ascended master who cares for, or is the custodian of violet flame. And I didn't, when I was practicing, when I was first practicing the affirmations and prayers and connecting to Saint Germain, I didn't really understand what I was doing. I didn't really understand. And it was a simple visualization of a purple flame, and then like a mantra that you say. And I didn't truly understand what was happening until there was a situation where I was incredibly angry about something, where a person had done a disservice to me and my kids. And I was so angry about it and so bitter about it. And I was tired of feeling that. And the one day I thought of the situation and realized that the reason the person is behaving in that way is because they are in so much pain. They are in so much pain because only a person who could be in pain could behave in that way to another person. If you were happy, you wouldn't be able to do that, because you just wouldn't be able to, to do such a thing that would harm people. So I realized then, and then one day when I was saying the mantra after this had happened, I realized that the violet flame is compassion. Compassion is the alchemy that changes something from pain and bitterness to, when you have compassion for something or someone or a situation that has caused you pain, and then you see that through a filter of compassion, you're essentially transmuting that energy from negative to positive, which is exactly what violet flame does. It transmutes it. And so we become the alchemist ourselves to take something that could be a poisoning energy, and it is a toxic and draining energy if you keep feeding it, and switching it by seeing it through a lens of compassion into a empowering energy, a sort of need to want to heal the wounds that the other person who has inflicted this wound on you now, because you can only inflict wounds if you have wounds. Sort of wounded people wound people. That's just the nature of it. So once you start to break that cycle and decide for yourself to transmute that any experience, anything, if your bag is stolen, shame, man. Imagine how desperate that oak had to be, that he had to risk his safety to take my bag. Shame, man. I know I'm inconvenienced. I'm going to go do all my licensing, all my stuff, oh man, my slips were in there, my phone with all my photos. That guy isn't even eating. He's not even eating, man. I'll get over the bag. Take the money, dude. Do you want me to go draw you some? If I have some to draw. You know what I mean? So that's from Neil Donald Welsh, that concept of compassion as well. He speaks about it a lot. So yeah, thanks for bringing me to that alchemy, because that violet flame has been a significant thing. I have it tattooed on my leg. And thanks. Any more questions coming up? Murray, you look like you're in heaven, dude. So blessed.
So you had the wisdom to choose compassion over frustration or anger.
Yeah, because
out of experiential understanding.
That's it.
You've learned to become wise like that and choose. So I think also wisdom is a lot about choice, because the wise person will choose that which is the right thing, I suppose.
So that's funny. So I've just written my website, and it took me a really long time to actually bring to ground what I was trying to say that I do. And my website, my sort of tagline is changing one choice at a time. And it's literally every single thought that you have, every time you get angry about something, every time something triggers you, you can have the choice. Do I ride this train of anger? Do I ride this train of bitterness? Because I can ride it. I've been riding it for years. But I'm so bored of it, man. So bored of this bitter train. I'm so bored of the same stories. Over it. I want to be happy, man. I don't want to be moaning and bitching. I want to be happy. I want to be laughing. I want to be talking about funny things. I don't want to commiserate with people. I don't want to complain. It's boring. Did it, you know? So it's that moment where you make a choice. I don't want to do the same thing I've been doing. Just a choice, one choice at a time, one choice at a time. It's as simple as that. And it is simple, but it's also not simple because I still lose my temper. But then in that moment, it feels like to lose my temper, and I make that choice, you know. And sometimes you have to lose your temper. You have to love the light and the dark. Sometimes you have to lose your temper to put your ground down. You got to stand up for yourself. People got to see. Don't mess with me. You know, don't mess with me. I'm going to protect myself. So, yeah, you have to do that. So, yeah, that was an interesting rant. Yeah, we can give it a moment. It doesn't matter if there's silence. Sometimes things take a little bit to come through. I've got 3 kitties here playing behind me in the garden. They found a little jumpy thing or something. And the light is on my face like an angel. We're all just logging in there. The kitties are making me think of spirit animals. So I've got 3 kitties. I only intended on getting 2 kitties. But you see, the 3 kitties are very cute. And 3 is a good number, you know, for balance. And there are 3 human beings living in this house. So we have these 3 kitties. So I have, I guess the kitties are now my spirit animal. I keep having animals coming in my life. And yeah, dragonfly is one of them. So if you've seen my website, then you'll see the dragonfly. And Mom, I actually have a question for you. You know that song Alouette, Jante Alouette?
Yeah.
What does it mean?
It's alouette is a bird.
Okay, because someone told me
It's a bird.
dragonfly yesterday, actually.
Alouette? No, it's a bird. I'll look it up for you.
Okay. What does the song mean?
I've got to remember it. Alouette, j'en dis alouette, alouette, je te plumerai la tête. Tu plumerai, a plume is a feather.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take the feather out your head. Je te plumerai la tête. Je te plumerai la tête, et la tête, and you go through the whole body. It's a child's song.
Oh, cute.
To
Okay.
explain the parts of the body, but it's talking about the alouette, which is a bird. I don't know what it is in English. I must look it up. And you're pulling out the feathers of his head, and you go through of your neck, of your whatever.
It's sort of like tickling it going or something. Oh,
it's
cute.
just a cute one, yeah.
So that is
okay, I'll look for alouette.
Playful. Look it up, yeah, because I was wondering what that was. I was wondering what that meaning was, because someone yesterday said alouette is a butterfly, and I was like, what? I used to get sang a song about that. And it's funny, a dragonfly, not a butterfly, and I thought with a dragonfly on my arm. So
well, let me look it up.
So my first spirit animal that came to me was a wolf. And it was when I was about age 3 years old, and we were living at my mom's parents' home in Kibble Park. And the wolf used to, when I was falling asleep, I used to hear my heart beating in my ear, and it was the wolf's steps walking toward me. And I was afraid of the wolf. Okay. And then I used to have dreams of the wolf. So it would be all the animals would be playing ring rosies in the garden, holding hands and playing in the garden. And I was about 3 or 4 something. And suddenly something would set them off, and they would all go wild, and they would all scatter. But the wolf would jump through my window, and then I would wake up. And the first person who explained to me what the wolf was, she said, it's your fear of your wild side. And this was when I was about the age 35, 36. And she hit the nail on the head, because I had been putting my wild side away for decades, been hiding it away, cultivating and refining myself based on society's expectations of who I should be. I even removed this little beautiful third eye mole that has grown back in an attempt to meet with the external, or should we say this little internal world standards. So yes, that was the first thing. And then once I let the wild side out, then all the other ones came. So I've had the dragonfly, which was the transformation, and that was shortly after I realized what the wolf was. Then I became wild. I became the magical dragonfly doing that. So it's really been a ride with these spirit animals. I've had, you can see the elephant behind me. The elephant came to me earlier this year when I got the groups going for the Chronicle. And the elephant also came to me before Corona. And that was really significant for me because I didn't realize what it was until I went and read up what Corona means, its crown, and obviously the matriarch crown. And so it was the elephant. The vision that I saw was the elephant moving through the forest, the matriarch coming and taking her tusks and lifting the dead wood and tossing it and breaking through to create a path for new growth. So that was quite a vision, and I didn't realize that it was a vision of some things, but also I think of Corona in a sense, a metaphorical sense. So, but you know, hindsight's always 2020. But yeah, and I'd seen her, and then I immediately went and hung this up. Oh, beautiful, Mark.
Sorry.
Go for it. You're gonna play it?
Yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I don't know what went.
No. Okay, technical issues.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if there's some hidden meaning in there.
It's French.
Et la tête, je te plumerai la tête. Et la tête, alouette,
Oh, that's great. Thanks. Okay, stop it there. I think it's we get it. It's so great.
So it's all the parts of the body of the bird.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to use that for something because it came forward, so it must be something important. We'll have to go do some symbol searching. So, any questions, guys, or should I just wrap on some interesting things? No? Okay. So I want to
sorry, Natalie, getting back to the wolf. As a child, you battled until you're about 4 to fall asleep by yourself.
Yeah.
And you never mentioned the wolf. Maybe you didn't know what it was to say, Mommy, I'm scared of the wolf. But now you remember it clearly.
Yeah. No, I remember it. And
see.
I don't.
But you never actually said the wolf, because then I would have said.
Do you remember there was a snake by my door? Do you remember me always hearing and seeing the snake by my door?
No.
No. Yeah. So there used to be a snake.
How old were you?
As well. It was when we used to live by Nona.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see the healing happening here, okay, guys.
No, you were afraid to go to sleep.
We are doing lineage healing here. Yeah, because I was totally having visions and.
But you weren't smoking.
No, I wasn't. I was in child phase. We had no filters. We know social filters were set up. So I was having visions then already. I still have memories.
Oh yes.
Being 2 and 3 years old. So I wanted to talk to you guys about how the spirit world sort of communicates with me, because I can't really speak for anybody else. And when I say spirit world, what I actually want to say is the quantum realm. Because it's actually the same thing. When you think of something, so if I say to you, think of a watermelon, like right now, think of a watermelon, okay? And imagine cutting the watermelon open in half, and you cut it again, and then get it so that you can cut nice pieces. So you're doing this just with your imagination. And now take one of those pieces and have a bite out of it. And I want you to just, you know, feel the juice as it drips down, and even sometimes goes down your hand, the texture of the watermelon in your mouth, taste, maybe the juiciness of it. Okay, you got it? Yeah? Okay, so could you see it? Could you hear it? Could you taste it? Where did that happen? Where did that happen? It didn't happen in your head. It didn't happen
In
in
your
your head.
imagination.
That's it. But your imagination is not inside your head. Where is it? How do
No,
you know?
but
How do you know?
your
it's inside
brain, your brain has helped you to visualize that.
But how is it
Because
right?
often you can think of a meal
Mm-hmm.
and you can smell it and you can taste it.
Mm-hmm. But
Even if somebody's smoking
yeah.
in a movie,
Mm-hmm.
you can smell the smoke.
Yes, definitely.
I can smell the smoke of the person smoking.
Yes.
I say, oh my gosh, they must stop smoking. Look at
So it's like a thought,
look at
right?
the smoke. I can smell it.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a thought basically in your mind, like a visual thought or
Yes.
a sensorial thought, right?
But it's a real thing.
It is a real thing. So that's
because
yeah,
you can feel it,
exactly.
smell it, taste it.
Exactly. So the thought doesn't exist in this reality. Oh, someone's joining us. Just want to admit them. It's Tracy, lovely. So the thought doesn't exist in this reality, this physical reality right now. You know, so where does it exist then? It's existing in the quantum realm, and the quantum realm is the thought realm. So it's ideas. When you get an idea, that's in the imagination realm. It's in the thought realm. It's in the same place where the dreams are. I think we can agree like our imagination and our dreams are sort of a similar place. It's that subconscious. It's like a big cauldron or big cooking pot of all the delicious things that we've experienced internally and externally. Yay, Chase is coming on board. So that quantum realm, that's where we dream, that's where we imagine, that's where we daydream. Yay, hello. We are recording. I just want to let you know this is being recorded. So yeah, what we were talking about the quantum realm and the spiritual world. So I was going to talk about how the spiritual world or the quantum realm communicates with me, and so I'm going to assume that it communicates with other people, not all other people, but with some other people in the same way. So I studied and taught English for 11 years. So narratives and symbols and dreams and character conflicts and all those kind of things are my language, if that makes sense. My language to the quantum realm. That's how the quantum realm. That's how my thoughts are formulated, with words and images and stories. So that is how the quantum realm will then communicate, or how any information will come to me. It will come through those filters, because those are my symbol filters. Those are my language filters. Okay. So each person, their multiple intelligence, for example, is their specific language filter through which source information comes through. Does that make sense? So it's like each of us, and this is why we have to be so authentic to ourselves all the time, is because each of us have these very specific filters that, and each of them are so particular that when we channel source energy, when we are living life, when we are Reiki, when we are practicing Reiki, just living life, letting life happen, creating, doing, interacting, connecting, embodying ourselves as human beings, then, and to our complete utter self, so all our natural filters are on, then we are fulfilling that element of source being expressed in that particular way. And because it is so massive, because the energy, the source of energy where everything, whatever it was, it doesn't matter what you want to call it, there is an energy source to all of this. because it is so massive, it needs to be expressed in so many ways for itself to be fully expressed. It can't just be expressed through one channel, it'll explode it. It's too much. It has to go through as many little light sources and pinpricks as possible so that it is spread out, and it will continue to just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger the way that it spreads through until that energy is completely dispersed. So it's as simple as osmosis, from a high concentration to a low concentration. That's the observable movement of energy. It just goes from one, and then once it's that one, it goes back to the other one. It goes there and it goes back. It's just the natural ebb and flow of one to the other. So the filtering of these symbols, each of us will have a different language. And obviously with working in education and working with a school with gifted learners, where we particularly worked on the multiple intelligences, I would say that those multiple intelligences are pretty good, if you want to put it in psychological terms, a pretty good explanation of the different types of ways that source energy can come through. And obviously there's going to be so many other variables and many other potential multiple intelligences that probably we haven't identified yet. But yeah, it's really that variety that allows for the energy to be expressed fully. Yeah. Hey, Tracy. How you doing? It's just at the bottom. We've been chatting for a bit.
I'm good. Just finished my morning classes. That's why I'm a bit late. I only finished right now.
Thank you for coming.
Sure.
So we did a little connection earlier on, and we connected into the grid. So we said whoever intended to be here will be coming. So yeah, you're here. Did you have any questions?
No, I literally was just working this morning, and I finished my lessons, and I opened my phone, and there was a message from you. It just said it's time, and I was like, sweet, it's time that I jump on one of your calls. I haven't done it yet. Yeah, like it's time.
Hey,
I was just like, okay, let me just check if you're still here, then I'm gonna get on it, because I keep missing your stuff because it's the same time as my stuff.
Exactly.
So, I just saw that it's time, and I was like, okay, it's time.
It is time. That was just the message, clean and simple. So
I didn't even listen. I see there's a voice note before then. I didn't listen to it.
Oh, good. Just trust it. Yay. So Tracy's one of my bestest friends, and she's seen me channel lots when I am under the permission slips of substances. She's heard lots of and truths coming forward. Just hold on a second. I'm recording my screen. I'm recording. Okay. Sorry, my little ones sometimes get into a bit of a daze in the morning, so they want to know, Mommy, we want to talk to you. So just hold on, let me record it. So you just treat them with grace. So no more questions coming forward. I can talk some more. You know I can talk. Okay, so I like talking about grace. I like talking about the concept of grace. I think about it often because it's actually very difficult to practice. Even though it's empowering to practice, we like our narratives. Oh, we like our story, you know? It's fun to be your character. You don't want to not be your character, you know? So I like bitching about being a single mom. But as I'm now tired of it, because actually I'm having fun. It's quite peaceful. So I'm tired of moaning about it now. But sometimes I like getting angry and moaning about it, you see. So grace, what is grace? Grace is to, I've looked up the definition in so many ways to try and get a real grip on the word and what it means to practice it and how to put it into practice. So if any of you guys got, what do you think of the word grace? I'd love to hear it before I wrap.
One of my favorite, it's not my own, but someone said grace is like an umbrella. It's like your umbrella in a rainstorm. You don't even know you have it, but it's like having this invisible umbrella that no matter what you're going through, you're umbrellaed.
Beautiful. I like that. Protected from the rain. That's nice.
Spiritual umbrella.
Mary, did you have any thoughts? Not in general.
No.
Not. Marka, Amy? I know you are deep thinkers. Okay, so it's radio silence. You can hear the creaking of the crickets in the background. So, okay, so grace. So the definition in the dictionary says courteous goodwill or politeness or good, like all the synonyms are politeness and good manners and everything. And then when you look up the religious symbology where they talk about God's grace, and it's sort of, they liken it to, it's almost like mercy. Like mercy would be sort of the putting grace into practice, you know. So grace is like, I would say maybe a mix of forgiveness and mercy together, where you forgive the person, not just for them, but also so that you can lighten your load and not have to think about that weight anymore. And then mercy is how you then act out the grace, how you act out the forgiveness. Because it's, I mean, how do you act out forgiveness? You know, you can say I forgive you, but you can't really act out forgiveness. So mercy would be then to enact or embody the forgiveness, I think, and those combined would make grace. So and this is a practice that I'm still trying to do, because and it is every time that you do it, it's a choice. So every time you have the choice to practice grace. So if you've had someone who has upset you, or you know, a problem with a supplier or something like that, and especially now, like during this time where people aren't all able to pay their bills right now. So one of the practices that I try and do is to not speak negatively, not say anyone's name in a negative way. And it's I probably get it right about 40% of the time, but it's, you know, it's like you got to learn, you got to try each time. So each time it's a choice. So you'll be having a conversation about someone or something, a particular thing, which actually is a privilege to have. And you'll feel yourself complaining or whatever. And in that moment, as the sentence is coming out of your mouth, just like when you're on a diet and you stop eating halfway through a pizza slice because you feel full and you're supposed to stop when you're full. You right in the middle of the sentence, as you are making the complaint, and you realize you are doing it, because it feels like it's a complaint. It does, because your friend likes, like, yeah, you know, they agree with you. So in that moment where you're feeling that feeling and you realize you're complaining, just stop speaking. Just close your mouth. Just no. Just like the Matrix bullets, just put your hand up. I'm not shooting those bullets out my mouth. You know, and I mean, once you start working with sort of manifesting and quantum jumping and stuff, you don't want to have any bullets coming out of your mouth, because they just mirror right back at you. So yeah, it's those moments. And then by doing that, you're also showing grace to yourself, because you're not bringing those heavy feelings that go with complaining and bitterness into your own body's chemistry. Because whenever you feel that, that chemistry of feeling angry, feeling bitter, feeling afraid, when you feel it, just even in your imagination, like when you worry, you're creating that chemistry in your body. So it's not just spiritual, whatever. And that's why I talk about the quantum and the thought realm, because it's all actually inside here, and this is inside it, and you know, that whole paradox of all of that. So you want to show yourself grace by not complaining, by not speaking ill, you know, as much as you can. You still want to be your full self. You are going to not be able to. Don't try and control yourself 100%. Don't. Sometimes there has to be an anger, there has to be an explosion, there has to be something to happen so that change can happen. But it doesn't have to be a leakage. Complaining about something that isn't of value to you to move forward as a point to start a constructive action is a waste. And that's why I didn't become a psychologist, because I didn't really understand it to the degree that I do now. But I just can't stand sitting and listening to people complain and then they don't do anything about it. Because it's leaking energy, it's leaking vital energy that you could be using to create your great reality and whatever it is that you want to be doing. You know, so it's a leakage of energy to complain, because you're spending time just even talking about it, time just thinking about it, when you could be thinking about something else. You could be doing something else. You could be singing a song. I'd rather put on a song and dance than complain for 5 minutes. I'm going to feel much better. Your body's going to feel better. You know, so maybe get yourself in a habit. This is a good habit. I'm just going to move the camera a bit again. Get yourself in a habit. Every time you feel like complaining, just quickly put on a song. Or watch a funny clip or something. You know, just break that habit immediately. So because I work also with psychology and sort of how to use neuroplasticity to change the brain, I'm bringing in that whole spiritual, but also the like neurolinguistic programming and neuroplasticity concepts as well, because behavior change is literally a choice every time. Do I want to act this? Do I want to act in grace? Do I want to do the healthy thing? Do I feel like rebelling right now? Is that part of my nature? Yes, I'm going to go eat 3 chocolates, you know. So it's a wisdom in what you allow to filter out. It's that fine balance of self-acceptance and self-love, but also development and evolving and becoming the integrated self at the same time. It's just such a fine balance of all these paradoxes.
Hand up, teacher. I've been all alone for this whole lockdown. Wow. I think I'm one of the few people. I've seen like 3 people in 8 weeks. It's ridiculous. And I usually am super social and see like literally at least 100 people. And so it's been a very interesting time to sort of like just watch myself. And I've had like some lows and some highs, and I've kind of come to this very happy place of just accepting, like you were saying, you're not always one thing. Not always waking up at 7 and going for the walk. Sometimes you are eating all the chocolate and like it's fine, you know. Like so much of my mental drama comes from me wanting myself to be this linear thing that I'm not, you know, like. And so just, I don't know, it sounds obvious maybe, but like just realizing like, hello, of course you it's the way it is, you know. And then to enjoy the bottom, enjoy being in a weird place, you know what I mean? Like we always just make it like this is the good one and this is the bad one, and if you hear lekker, and if you hear but no, it's fine, it's all fine, it's chill.
Yeah. It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. And
yeah.
I think that's what a lot of people are realizing in this downtime that we're getting, and a lot of people are seeing like they're seeing their own cycles, and unless you've been an entrepreneur, unless you've jumped off the rat race treadmill for a bit, you do not get a chance to see your own cycles. And my cycles are, if you were to take, I mean, I know many of the DSM, the diagnostic manual for psychological issues. I would most definitely, if they were to hook me up to one of those testing systems that they've got now, I would definitely come out as bipolar, and even seasonal affective disorder. But because I know the criteria, but that's if you are basing it on this rat race schedule, which is not natural. It's not seasonal. We are seasonal beings. We are cyclical beings, you know. Everything in nature is it follows cycles, and so do we. And we are forced into this very contrived cycle. And that's why we are hurting ourselves so much. That's one of the toxins, is when your body is not, I've been studying the Ayurvedic cycles and the Chinese medicine clock now, body clock. And when we are forced outside of the natural cycles, the body now loses its healing time, it loses its integration time, and so on. And so, and everyone has different, because depending on the time of day we're born, depending on the month where we're born on the thing, we have different energy, systems ourselves. We're all different. So some of us are going to have different ones. So you can't just take one and just apply it to everybody. You can't do that, you know. I'll come to you, Nama. You can't just apply it to everyone. Everyone has their different cycles, and you have to leave them. And people also have different cycles at different times of the year and different ages. So you'll go through, like, sometimes you'll go through a burst of creative energy for like 6 months, and then depressed down as can't even fathom even cooking breakfast for 3 months. And that 3 months is the time when you're learning and you're taking in, and almost in a daydream state, to take in all the stimulus and stuff that has happened during that creative phase. So I've now called depression, I've changed the word, I now call it deep rest. I call it so deep rest. You are as lazy as you can be, obviously permitting that you've got to still get work done and live a functioning life, but you don't make any new creative pursuits. Don't start any new things. Don't, anything that's going to take creative energy, don't initiate. Just rest. Take a deep rest. Read, relax, chill out. Go for a holiday. Let yourself go for a little bit with your food issues and your whatever else. Deep rest, so that that energy can rebuild again, create a new cycle. Okay, Mama, your question.
Okay, hi. I was just coming to the point of when you said you could even be bipolar, when you analyze yourself. And I was thinking, and then you brought it up, the stars or astronomy. And I was thinking, yes, you are a Gemini. And as a child, by the way, Tracy, I'm her mom. And Natalie's mom. As a child,
hold on. So Tracy also Gemini. Her birthday's a few days after mine.
Yeah. So
yeah, I'm
as
also
a child,
Gemini, and I also was literally thinking, like, in this time, like, I could be bipolar, because I'm either bouncing off the walls or
right.
you know what I mean? It's like, and it's quite a rapid oscillation of like, yeah, it's exhausting.
So just continuing on that, as a child, Natalie would be an utter angel. I mean, short of having little wingspan, she was a darling, an angel, sweet as you couldn't get sweeter. The next minute, she'd be like a little devil incarnate. I'm like, what's happening? She's a little troll. What the hell? But as you say, Tracy, from one moment to the next. But all her life, she's been like that. It's not what you see, you know, always the same boring person. It's, you don't know where you are. How's she today? Is she up? Is she down? Is she in between? So, yeah, Gemini, I reckon definitely the universe has a lot to do with our makeup, how we are influenced, definitely. So, yeah, that's what I was thinking of. It makes a lot of sense. But what I find is beneficial this time that we're having this lockdown has not been detrimental to us. I think besides detrimental to the economy and also to the poor people that haven't got food on the table and can't work and can't earn money. Yes, I know that's very, very bad. But I mean, if we are surviving, those of us that are surviving, we've come to a different realization of life. First of all, we're alive. We're conscious. You know, we're breathing. We can see, we've got our senses. We can hear, see, feel, but totally differently to when we were, as you say, in the rat race. Our perception has changed completely, not only about ourselves, but about the world. and why we're living and the purpose of life. I think this has made a huge impact on the world as a whole, never mind the individual. But it's a time like this that you find out who you really are and who the people around you are. You know, a lot of people hide behind religion, you know, holier than thou and all this stuff. I don't believe it. Because somebody that could be holy, the pastor or what have you, can be a murderer or a rapist or a whatever. No person is pure. We all have our little dents and, you know, blotches and pimples. And so I think this has really uncovered a lot of what we are as a person and what the world is about. And there you see the greedy ones and the needy ones, and the people that are helpful and those that are selfish. We can see that so clearly now. So I reckon this lockdown, as hard as it might be with regards socializing and hugging someone, giving love, receiving love, seeing people that you miss, it's had a very huge impact on the world, and it's about bloody time. So I welcome it and I am enjoying it, even though I'm concerned about our country, South Africa. I am concerned because this is where I came from the age of 5, and this is where I'm going to die.
So, mama. So bring that emotion in, that passion in. That's what fuels it. So your feelings are your contrast compass. They show you where you need to where you need to go towards. So yes, this situation, I think, has really, for me, I think, been a huge mirror for the whole planet, and a pause. And I think what a lot of people have been praying for, no one wants collateral damage. Nobody wants that. Everyone can feel compassion for someone else if they have to lose a loved one. Everyone has lost a loved one and can feel what that feels like. No one wants that. But the pause on the planet, the pause on humanity's, it's like horses with blinkers on, you know, just running for this goal, this ambition to achieve what? To achieve what? What do we have to achieve? There's no rush. No one's going anywhere. Where are we going? We're not going anywhere. Like, why do we have to do it so quickly? We can work on our technology, but we don't have to be in a rush. You know, what's the rush for? It's not going to go anywhere. If you don't do it, then you just pass on your knowledge to someone else. They'll keep doing it. It's going to get better and better. What's the problem? You know, so and the more technology shared, the better our healthcare, the better our medical system. So maybe you can live forever then, you know. So yeah, I'm glad that there has been a pause button, and of course, absolutely not glad for any suffering that happens. And yeah, like you say, it's put it into action. So are you helping the situation? Are you bringing light to the situation? Are you adapting? So I think there's a graph of how change works, and I'm working with people in terms of bringing change into their life. And there's a graph where, you know, there's a point of denial and then anger and acceptance and so on. It's sort of similar to the grieving process, except afterwards there's action towards the change. Yeah, the many of us now I've realized, okay, like Tracy's got her business online, mine, I'm moving everything online now, and that's actually what I wanted a couple of years ago. I wanted to have my whole business online anyway. Why didn't I do it? You know, so now here's this catalyst that has created it. And then another thing is many people's visions of the future was teleportation, and this comes up for me. because all that teleportation actually is a transfer of consciousness. You know, it's really just a transfer of consciousness or focus to a specific point. And I've realized that because when you're daydreaming, right, when you're visualizing something or daydreaming or you're having a memory, you're totally there. You're totally there. You're in it. When you're having a dream, you're totally there. You're in it, you know. So really it is this teleporting concepts is like just bringing your consciousness into a certain point. So now I'm sitting with all of you here. We're all in our own homes, but we've got a virtual space in our mind now, a space in this quantum realm where we all connecting with each other. We've had this meeting and we're sharing this and we made the connection. So this connection that we're making, where does it exist? In that quantum space. So we're creating a virtual reality where this event has happened in our own mind, as well as on the actual digital platform, because I'm recording it and I'm gonna put it up as one of the learning materials. I know, I told you I'm recording. I thought you were chill, friend. I thought you were chill. Hey, listen, you seen cannabis grows in my garden, so don't even worry about it. Okay. Don't even worry about it. You've already gone live with it. You've already gone live. So my friend is a singer, Tracy. She's a jazz and folk singer, and just the awesomest artist as well. And she teaches kinder music to children. How sweet. She says she spends days laughing and playing with children, which is ultimately what life should be, about laughing and playing. So yeah, so this virtual thing now, this teleporting thing. I mean, I'm in your living room now, friend. You're in my patio. Mom, we're in your study. Yeah, I can see.
Study.
Mary, we're in your
Dressing room.
We're in your like cool chill room there. It's got nice art. And then we're at the Aurora Borealis with Amy and Marco.
Lost in space.
We lost in space there with you guys. So yeah. I mean, we're teleporting our consciousness, our awareness into each other's space right now. And I mean, if we ever needed an answer to the transport and fuel crisis, we're doing it right now. No one needs to come and see, no one ever needs to come and see me in person again. The Reiki can be done through a distance. It's just a connecting of consciousness. Yoga can be done from a distance. I can be in my beautiful space. I can be a custodian of my space, of my garden, of my plant life, of my bird life, of my animal life, in my own space. Spend time looking after the little farm that is mine, you know, this little space.
And you don't need a mask.
You don't need a mask, you don't need anything, and you can have people visit and everything. And here we are now going back to our homesteads. You know what I mean? It's like we're going back it's like we're going back a little bit, but then we're also with technology going forward. And remember, I don't know if you guys have ever sort of heard of that discussion where we need to bring our level of consciousness up to the same level as our technology. Like, for example, a little 5-year-old could fly a drone that could potentially hold a nuclear bomb, and they wouldn't know. So now it's about bringing that consciousness into the use of technology. It's that awareness that you bring into the use of the technology, that wisdom, bringing it through that context. So now we're all getting tech savvy, and we all know that you can't put on this, you can't put on this. We've got to watch out for these certain things that can be issues and so on. And even, I mean, YouTube now, there's censoring on YouTube for kids, everything. So the kids are learning how to use technology critically. And so we are, it's like the rat race has been paused a bit, so that if you imagine the human being as one organism, that certain area has been paused, and now we're getting a raise in the use of technology. So the expansion of knowledge, the expansion of consciousness, and then because obviously, you know, the every time more of us know things, it just expands and expands, and then being able to now apply this wisdom to the use of the technology. So there won't be a child flying a drone, because the child will be like, well, what is this game? What even is this? Da, 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 da. They'll want to know about it. Where's my friend? Who can I play? How can I play with? Da, da, da. And parents will have checked it all, because they want to make sure there's no nonsense happening on the game. It's going to go through the filters. We all are being forced to become tech savvy and tech safe, because we have to be on the tech so much. So it is a learning curve as well. It's this learning curve where we're now raising our consciousness, and hopefully it lifts up into the same level as our technology. And then if once they're at the same level, and then they start growing at the same time, because we've now integrated and we've matured them both, then human beings are it's just gonna be incredible. And that's the vision of the future that I see. Is I can see the growth and development happening, because here we are sitting having a group healing session and a channeling session, connecting, all bringing forth our little questions and things, and it's happening through the technology. So we're bringing in this consciousness and awareness through the use of tech. It's now become this tool for good. So yes, I think we've been on for quite a bit. It's been such a great connection, such a lovely channeling. And yes, I think that this wisdom comes through the perspective and the filters of all of us that decided to join here. So yes, thank you. You guys want to just say a little goodbye? You can take off the mute buttons.
Okay.
Cheers. I really enjoyed listening to it and being part of the session. And that stuff that you said about the feeling kind of bipolar, I'm Pisces and I feel exactly the same. But it's funny enough, my sister is Gemini and we've been talking about it. So is it only Pisceans and Geminis that experiences up and downs? But I find it's like a cog in a wheel. Sometimes you're up and sometimes you're down, and it's got to be like that. It's the yin yang of life, So you're going to go up and you're going to go down, but it's about embracing and enjoying the journey.
Sure.
Stop riding the wave. Stop riding the wave.
Sure. Look, I actually personally, I know my mom did bring in my sort of personal story into it, but I don't believe that it is a Gemini thing. Because my dad as well, he also has this up and down all the time, huge creative outbursts, and then collapse for a bit. And he's not a Gemini at all. And I know other people who are not. I think it is just a natural creative cycle, and everyone's creative cycles are different. I think just because that Gemini, maybe I think that contrast just flips quicker. And it goes from one to the other instead of this sort of gentle vacillation from one to the other. We have this ability to literally so in numerology, Geminis are a 5, and a 5 is basically the person who steps off the pyramid, and it's literally a tipping, it's actually the rebel, the tipping force, because it's the number right in the middle between 1 and 9. So it's the one that tips you to either side. So yeah, definitely that is a Gemini thing. But for me, cycles, I've seen lots of people go through ups and downs, and that they could be classified bipolar if you were to use the DSM, and especially because they are taught that it is a disorder, and so they stress and they worry about it instead of realizing it's just their cycle and then just naturally falling into it. Then it's no longer a disorder. It only is classified as a disorder if it causes you harm or causes you struggling or suffering in your life. Yeah. So yeah, sorry, I had to add that extra bit.
And most of the struggling or suffering is just wanting it to be other than it is,
Yes.
like wanting it to be this linear, unrealistic thing.
Yeah, like why
I think it's nice that your mom
else just keep going.
Nice that your mom mentioned your childhood things as well, because that's also what I've been sitting with. It's just like for a lot of us, like especially when you're on a path of personal growth or spiritual development, like I want to improve and be better, and that is possible. But at the same time, we are also who we are, like the human incarnation has its role to play, and so like denying who you were. I was a moody little kid, creative and stuff, and I'm the same, and I still go through crazy stuff. And so to just be like, yeah, most of the agony is trying to make yourself half of who you are, because you've judged the other half as not being appropriate, and it's not necessary.
Yeah, no.
Once you accept it, it's like easier, to be like, okay, I'm just doing that troll thing, that I do sometimes.
And just to warn, I warn people. I'll say, like first connecting, okay, just listen. I'm weird. And I'm going to give you an example. I'll eat tomatoes. I won't eat the little ones, but I'll eat the big ones. They can't be cut up into, sliced into salad, but they can be on a sandwich. You know what I mean? It's like all over the place. It's all
Like
over the place.
the provider. Hello.
Yeah.
It's
And a bit
different.
strange.
On my birthday book, you know, you get those books where it says the astrology of the day of your birth. So my birthday is on the 30th of May. And the name for that one, sorry, I can't remember every day. Otherwise, I'd share it with everyone. That's just a book I looked at. It was the Mercurial Sparkle. And I've always thought it was hilariously accurate because it's like sparkly, but hella moody.
Go for it, Mama.
So I was just going to say, Tracy reminded me, your character being a moody child and etc. You know, each one has got character. You can call it characteristics of the person. We can change in time slowly, but the essence is still the same. You are who you are. I is what I is. Sorry, bad English. I am what I am. But
are what it are.
It are what it are. Because when you've got a certain, you're brought up in a certain way, a certain mindset has been drummed into you, and you always told you've got to be the norm. What the hell is the norm? Why not be out of the norm? It's better to be out of the norm than to be the norm. But this is something that society, if you're not normal, you have to have a tablet. You have to have medication to change you. Why the hell must we change? I agree. Don't be aggressive. Don't be too aggressive. Don't be too...
certain refinement of certain things that are not serving you.
Exactly. Get rid of those, but you don't have to be all the same. It'd be so boring. So your characteristics, but of course, Tracy, I agree, you should aim to improve yourself in whichever way you want to.
Yeah. That's always my thing. And maybe Nat, I don't know, you want to wrap it up, but we can chat at it. But like, I always struggle with like, I get so caught up in trying to self-improve that I'll only like value myself if I'm doing all the things. So then if I am having a little spell of like not doing the yoga and doing the thing, and then I feel like, completely worthless and destroyed and I've ruined it. You know what I mean? It's so hard to, I think that's really great to find like for yourself when you are in the hole, you know, and it's because it's easy to love yourself when you're eating your greens and doing your yoga, you know.
So you've placed so don't place judgment on whether you're doing the thing or not. You know what's good for you. You know there's certain things that are good for you, and when you have the willpower and energy to do them, then you do them. And when you don't have the willpower and energy to do them, then you don't do them. But there's no judgment.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I know the right things to do when I'm able, and I'm going to do them, and that's all I can do. I mean, you can't do more.
Yeah.
You're like, how could you ever do more than you're able to do? You know, if you don't have the mental energy and the physical energy to do something and the emotional energy to do something, then you don't have it. Why must you? Now, where are you going to get that from? You're going to dig in, you know, and like, but it's unnecessary. And what, you're going to go drink a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Now you can go. And then that's false. And now you're still using up that creative energy. You know, but it's with the false catalyst, you know, so it's like, no, it's not good. You got to rest. And I've actually become pretty defensive in my my response to people if they are challenging me resting, because before I was very afraid to take a rest or a nap, or to not be always pumping, going all the time, because I can get super intense when I am actually going, you know, full blast. And now, you know, I'll say, no, I haven't done yoga for a week, and the person will say to me, you can't not do yoga for a week, you're a yoga teacher. And I'm like, if my body does not want to do yoga for a week, and my mind and my heart can't motivate me to do it, then I'm not meant to do yoga for a week. And that's it. And I'm not, this body has led me on this amazing journey of self-discovery and self-love, and there's no way that I'm going to doubt any message that it gives me again. And that's it. And if I want to go eat a huge thing of takeaway, like a pizza or whatever, and I feel like eating that, and it just puts me into a total food coma, and I get that, thing. That is one of the functions of my human body. I'm meant to have blissed out moments. I'm meant to be out of control sometimes. That's the fun of it. That's what the heck we came here to experience and embody being a human being. And there's good parts and there's lack of parts, and you must enjoy the lack of parts as much as possible, because the bad parts hurt. So you must take the maximum out of the good parts, as well. You must just love all the parts of it. And I mean, think about it. Sometimes when you want to have a lack of cry, when you're upset or angry about something, yes, it feels nice to just cry and be in misery just for those few moments. And you're so sorry for yourself. Poor me. And you get your one friend, like I can always phone Tracy. Tracy, this is not fair. Oh, just bemoan it. And obviously we don't want to do that, complaining too much, but sometimes you just need to release the valve, and you get it out, and afterwards okay, I feel so much better now. I can think again. I release that emotion, the tears, all the hormones and the stuff came out of your body, and you sort it. And sometimes you lose your temper, full blast, and you feel terrible, but that person does not push that boundary with you again. Done. You lost your temper. They saw it. They're not going to push that again. And you had to lose your temper, because before they weren't afraid. They thought, I can keep pushing. You got to lose your temper sometimes. I've broken brushes. It's quite bad. Just bash it on the table. I'm so angry. Oh, I did not get in any trouble again. Didn't harm anyone. Just only the brush. Sorry, brush. Yeah. So I think we should wrap it up, because I think it's getting a bit long now. But I appreciate it so much. It was so fun connecting with you. And I think we should definitely try something like this again. Let's see if we can get a group with more people. Like, the diversity is really fun, getting all the different opinions and questions and viewpoints. Yeah, good. Yeah, so I just want to acknowledge, of course, that this is a group session. So it's very much just like I say at the beginning, each of us here are a voice for one perspective, one potential perspective of humanity. So we all represent something. It's not me channeling, it's all of us channeling as a group, bringing forth our little perspectives and our just even showing part of ourselves, our little homes and our idiosyncrasies and things. That's just putting wisdom out there and giving light for anyone else who is similar and hasn't related to someone before, the way that we have related ourselves here. So thank you, all of you, for joining me and being the voices of this group. It's been very fun just to facilitate it. And yay, and sending you so much love. And I'll let you know when the next one is. Cheers, cheers.